Hello gainers, I'm Ralphie and welcome to my channel called Fitter Philosophy, which is all about practical, experience-based, time-served stoicism. And I'm sharing mine with you to help you to get to know your stoic side better, to help you develop it, and of course to help you benefit from it. Because it's amazing just how we can change our lives by applying a little bit of sensibility. And sensibility is basically using our range of senses to the best advantage to sense the world around us and to censor out the negative parts which are going to directly impact our lives negatively, but also to promote the positive parts which impact our lives positively. After all, as they say, life ain't a dress rehearsal. We have to seize the moment, we have to make the day, and we have to make the best with what we have under whatever circumstances we live in. And it's amazing how some people with a lot can squander a lot and get not a lot out of life, whilst others who superficially appear to have very little can actually have enormously rich lives. And they're simply not material lives. They are self-contained, spiritual, outward-looking lives in which they simply have a deeper awareness of the world than those who are more ignorant and perhaps cushioned and cosseted by material trappings. After all, the old saying says to have more than you need in life is to have a burden. And I'm going to focus a little bit on that as part of this video, because one of the burdens we have, one of the biggest burdens we face, it's not debt, it's not hostility around us, it's ignorance. Ignorance of ourselves, ignorance of others. And you notice that negative people, they inevitably, because they are negative, live negative lives and attract, like a magnet, negativity towards them, whilst positive people do the very opposite. So what we do with ourselves at any time in our lives, if you're the younger the better, for sure, because it means you've got a bit more time in your side, but is to examine carefully not just our personal strengths, but our personal weaknesses. And this is why, as young people, it's very good to explore different options, not only to find out what you're good at and what you enjoy doing, but also to articulate and clarify what you're not good at and what you don't want to be doing. And I'll give you a personal example from myself. I used to play a musical instrument. I used to play the violin and the fiddle, which are very interchangeable. And I kind of enjoyed it initially, but the novelty really wore off, but I persevered longer than I should have. And I didn't take another musical instrument afterwards because I just slaved too long on something that I wasn't enjoying. So I learned a lot from that. I didn't really articulate it at the time, but in hindsight, I really got to kind of know it better. Also, head for heights. I do not have a head for heights. There was no chance of me being a roof repairer or a mountaineer or going up scaffoldings and buildings or anything of that nature. I have a terrible head for heights. So I wouldn't be volunteering, for example, on an old-fashioned sailing ship, particularly when you're up the mast and it's rocking to and fro out in the sea. But what I am good at is reading. I'm good at listening. I'm good at articulating things in my own way. I'm good at internalizing things. So I've never ever once been bothered about being on my own for prolonged periods of time. I'm a great insular person. But the advantage to that is, of course, I don't overly socialise. I don't spend too much time superficially with human interaction. What group of friends I have is substantial and meaningful. So there's an example of my awareness, self-awareness of my poor head for heights, and also my self-awareness of what type of person I am. I'm more introvert than extrovert, but I also happen to be a reasonable communicator, a good prolonged thinker, and I enjoy plenty of time in myself. So I'd probably make a very good monk or a recluse, probably a good librarian. And but my career path took me somewhat down that route. We met somewhere in the middle. I was an undertaker for many, many years, and a very, very interesting and worthwhile, meaningful job. That was important to me. I could have done another job and earned more money, but at this point I knew myself. I knew my strengths, I knew my weaknesses, and I made allowances, and I continue to have a successful and productive, meaningful life. And I have to now ask you, do you know yourself well enough? Do you play to your strengths? Do you understand your weaknesses so that you can avoid situations or circumstances where your weaknesses are a vulnerability to you? Or do you even challenge your weaknesses? Say if you've got a head for heights, bad head for heights, if you suffer from vertigo, do you actually spend time on roofs of buildings or on bridges just looking down, getting more familiar with your weaknesses and letting the mind adapt and the body follow? This is all part of the challenges of life. And sometimes we either do something about it, but often as not, it's just as productive to do nothing about a situation. And it's a contentment, a genuine sense of contentment. And contentment in life can only come from one single place, gainers, from within ourselves. And only we know what is within ourselves. That is why we should always be honest with ourselves, no matter what the situation. Because a great deal of unhappiness in the world comes from people who are dishonest to themselves. And it's the worst form of lying and deceit that you can engage with. I'm Ralphie. Hope you've enjoyed this monologue. If you have, click likey, subscribey, all the resty, and we'll see you soon for a bit more, fitter philosophy. Bye-bye.